Welcome, everybody. Happy Friday. How is everybody doing? This is our first Flow State Friday. Is that even what I called it? Flow State Friday. I'm feeling a little sleepy today. Are you guys out of it? Mars will be stationing retrograde later today. I kind of thought that was funny that today is the day that I decided to start this Flow State Friday. Because, we're all in this process of Mars being like, slow your roll, chill out. Let's see who's here. Elena says hello, hello. Hi, Trina. Becca says, hey. Trina, let's flow. Let's flow. It actually kind of started yesterday with one of my clients. We hopped on and I was like, all right, so what do you want to work on today? She's like, I got nothing. Let's just play. And I got to play yesterday. So that was fun. So let's carry that over into today. Lisa, happy Friday. Yeah, it sounds good. Sounds good that it's Friday. Sounds good that it's Friday. I was just reflecting real quick on when I didn't have weekends when I was a retail worker. The week would just blur. And then I became a teacher and I started to get my Saturday, Sunday off. And I was like, I'm never going back to working Saturdays and Sundays. And even when I started working for myself, it was a hard no. I will not be working on Saturdays and Sundays. So yes, I still love Fridays. Hello, Teresa. Levi says hello. Glad to be here again. Hello, Karen. Happy Friday. Nicole says, hello, lovelies. Yes, tired today. Staying home from work. Good on you. What a perfect day to stay home from work. Mars stationing retrograde. Karen says, go with the flow. Sounds good. Hi, Mimi. Hello, April. Melinda says hello. Shauna, good morning. Stephanie says good morning. So, if you did not read the description before you hopped in here, I'll let you know. This is a Flow State Friday, and this is the first one that I'm doing. Hello, Lori. Nice to see you. So the reason that we are here today is so that we can just go with the flow and see what comes up. I started shifting what I was doing on Insight Timer to allow more play for me, right? Less prep. When I come here and I talk astrology for you guys, it takes me like an hour to get my notes straight so that I can present the astrology to you. And that's why I started switching to those card readings so I could just show up and work, because that's how I prefer to work. That's how I work best with my coaching clients and stuff. We just show up, they tell me what's going on, and then we work together, and it's wonderful. So I figured, why not try that here on Insight Timer? So Flow State Friday, how I'm hoping that this will work and how I know that it will work. We're just going to start a discussion. I'm probably going to start blabbing about some stuff, and then we'll see where it goes. I might just turn this into a big Q&A. I might turn this into a guided meditation, depending on whatever you all need today, whatever I need today, whatever you need today. So if you guys are not on Insight Timer, know that I'm watching the chat on Insight Timer. Stephanie, I don't always like a plan. The freedom of flow. I got myself very tied down to structure and routine. And for an amount of time in my life, it worked for me. I kind of needed it. But then I realized that it got a little out of hand. I kind of lost touch with my feminine side. I lost touch with the chaotic side of me. I'm not always 100% chaotic, and I'm also not always 100% structured and on time and rigid. So the flow state, the play, has been really monumental in me unlocking a lot of my creativity recently. Cecilia is just waking up. Good morning. Christine says, hi, Jacqui and friends. Yes, Christine's also tired. Woke up at 2. Wide awake for a while. That sucks. I really don't like waking up in the middle of the night. Christine says, greetings, Jacqui and friends. Tam, greetings. Hi, Mari. Hi, Bethany. Good morning, Lisa. So I know on Wednesday I referenced that I had this thing come up around fear a couple times that I was considering, like, maybe this is what I'll talk about on Friday. So I'm just going to start telling that story and we'll see where it takes us. But let us know in the chat if you guys have anything that you want to ask, if you guys have anything that you want to work on today. And Lori was wide awake at 3 a.m. Interesting. That was not the same time because I know Christine is in Pacific and Lori is in Central Time. So there was 1 hour in between that. That's interesting. So yeah, I'll just tell you guys this story. And actually, this has been a hot topic. I don't know how much I want to get into it. You remember last week? It was last Friday after my Q&A session. I started, I don't remember. The day that I started riffing on why I feel like an outsider because I'm not flabbergasted at the election results in the United States. And I went off on this, what I thought was a pretty eloquent representation of why I think the way I do. I thought I went about it with like explaining my side of things and just presenting information, not trying to convince anyone to do anything. And then towards the end of that, I clipped a little piece and I put it on socials for people to see because I thought it was helpful. And it was my end result of getting down to saying, if you are triggered by the behavior of someone else, or if you are triggered by an event outside of yourself, then that means that that has your power. You have given your power away to that thing that is causing an emotional reaction within you. And then I can't remember offhand how I flipped it, but I turned it around to say, like, you have power over everything and things can happen outside of you and it doesn't have to affect you. It doesn't have to matter. What it comes down to is you being in control of yourself all the time. You are empowered, right? So I shared that little clip and I put it all over the place. And someone who I'm friends with on Facebook, but I don't know who they are. They live in my old town. Came at me. And the comment said something about, looks like you're playing off of people's fears, way to go. Like, looks like you're trying to take advantage of people's fears, way to go. So I saw the hateful comment and I took a second and I rewatched my video to see how this person might have thought that I was trying to take advantage of people's fears. And I watched the whole thing. And if you watch the first 15 seconds of it, I could see that it was like, oh, everyone's trying to get you. But then the rest of the whole minute and a half was me saying, like, you're powerful. You can turn it around. You got it. So I considered either just not responding at all or responding with kindness. And something told me to respond with kindness. So I did. And I said, I'm sorry that that's what you heard. My goal here is to help you find your empowerment. Like, I want the world to be in charge of themselves. I want everyone to know that they have the power to make the life that they want or whatever. And I said, like, I wonder why you heard that message from what I was saying. And then that led this person to open up and say, here's all my fears. I'm scared. I'm afraid that this is going to happen. I'm afraid that this is going to happen. I'm afraid that this is going to happen. Can you help me? And I thought it was just so interesting that I was attacked, right? Like, someone was a little keyboard warrior. They saw my work and they were like, ooh, I can talk shit about this girl because that's why. So they projected their fear onto me. And the difference between fighting back and taking a beat and saying, okay, I wonder why this person got that from my message. Because I know in my heart that that's not what I'm doing. Why would I want to play off of your fear? That's shitty. So why would this person think that? And just by responding with kindness, it allowed them to open up and get vulnerable and admit, like, yes, I am afraid of all these things in my life. Can you help me? If I would have fought back, then it would have just been a tit for tat, you know? So that was interesting. And there was something else that came up around that as well. So I was curious if that means anything for you guys. I see Lisa says, good response, well done. And like, I'm really not telling the story to tell you guys like, oh, look at how good I am at not getting angry at comments. I'm trying to show you that if someone comes at you, take a breath, take a beat. You don't have to fight back and defend yourself right away, because anything that anyone says to you about you has nothing to do with you. It has nothing to do with you. Okay, I see Christine woke up at 3:33 today, which is great. 3:33. Stephanie woke up at 4:14. Why are we all waking up so early? It's 11:11 on the progress clock when we said that. And it's 9:11, at Central Time. I actually woke up like 20 minutes earlier than normal today. Not super early, but that's been really nice too. Since I left my McHenry house, I haven't used an alarm except for the days that I wake up early to make the notes for astrology. Every other day, I just have been waking up naturally, and I wake up at the time I need to wake up, if not earlier. And that's something that I've been wanting for such a long time in my life. And it just like, poof, it just magically happened. Okay, every day at 7:15, you're just going to naturally, princess wake up to the birds. And it's been like so nice. I don't know how this happened, but it's so good. If you can make any changes in your life where you don't have to get woken up by an alarm, I super recommend that. Along those same lines, because this came up this morning too. Years ago, I made the conscious choice to change all the ringtones on my phone to things that are soothing. And the amount of calm in my nervous system from not hearing the blaring noise every time you get a text message or a phone call, and it's more of a like a little crescendo into, like those little tiny changes in your life can make a huge impact on your whole mood. And then eventually I just ended up turning off all sound. I haven't had sound come out of my phone for like 4 years. And then actually when I got my new phone a few months ago, I don't know how I did this, but I was able to turn off, it was just my text notifications. So like if I'm using my phone for something, if I'm like working on my phone and I get a text message, I don't get the drop down. My phone buzzes and I'm like, oh, cool, someone texted me. I'll check that in a minute. And it's helped so much with not having to like divert my attention right away. Right? I like to be focused on what I'm doing. I feel like we have so many external distractions. Turn off what you can turn off. Love that. Conflict is a door to intimacy. Yes, Allison, I like that. Conflict can be a door to intimacy, but it takes both sides to be vulnerable and open up. Trina, that is so powerful. Kindness is love. And we need more love. Yeah, what can you all do to spread more love? Christine was feeling the same way. I try to stay in the middle and have been expected to be on a certain side to be accepted in the yoga community. I believe in respecting all views and doing my best to bring us all together. Instead, I get you must choose our side. Be the light you want to see in this world. Be careful of speaking for the whole yoga community. It could just be the community that you have found yourself in. There might be other yoga people who are also centralists, not having to pick a side. Richie, we should respond, not react. It takes maturity and courage. Karen tries to be neutral. I was attacked for it by a friend. And did you respond with kindness? It's difficult. Love and kindness can be catalysts for change, 100%. And it seems like such a cliche saying, right? Spread love. Love is the way. And you can hear that over and over and over. But until you start practicing it, you might not see it. Chantel says, I think the new moon affects my sleep. I've noticed a few days in a month I don't sleep at all. Realized this month that it was during the new moon. That's interesting. Karen, the full moon too. Trina, yes, I am on Kairos time. It was probably about a year ago, maybe a year and a half ago. Someone explained the difference between Kairos and Chronos. Blew my mind. And that's why I'm trying to like not detached completely from Chronos, because I'll explain it in a second. But find a better balance. So I've talked about this before. Trina says the ancient Greek word kairos means the right or critical moment. It can also mean a season or an opportunity. So the way kairos and chronos were described to me, chronos is when you use time based on minutes. I'll meet you at the park at 1 p.m. Kairos is time measurement based on moments. I'll meet you at the park after sunset. I'll meet you at the park after I eat lunch. So instead of having this structured, repetitive, like the time is always going to go at the same rate. So instead of having this, like it has to always happen this way every time in Chronos, living with the Kairos is saying like, well, when I finish this is when I finish this, and that's what I'm going to go do the next thing. And I've been trying to align with that for a while, and it feels really good. It feels really good. April's reading the book Nonviolent Communication by Marshall Rosenberg. He shares the importance of practicing non-judgment and addressing the underlying need in what someone communicates, asking questions versus reacting. Great example of using the best practice, Jacqui. Thanks, April. Asking questions instead of reacting. That has been huge as well. Because you can easily assume the worst, right? Anytime something happens and you assume why this person acted this way, that's your projection. You are projecting your life experience onto someone who is completely outside of you. Even if this person is in your family and they've been by you your whole life, they still are entitled to their own life experience. So if someone reacts in a way and you're like, ooh, well, they're obviously trying to be mad at me, or like they're obviously getting back at me for XYZ. If you keep holding on to that, you're just going to keep perpetuating that notion in your life, and you're going to keep growing that kind of energy that the world's out to get you. But when you ask questions and you give the other person their dignity to answer for their self and their own actions, sometimes you're very surprised. Sometimes you're very surprised. You get curious. Get curious. I used to work at the Apple store. They tried to put me on the sales floor for like 6 months. I was like, I hate technology. I don't know why I'm doing this. So then I ended up in inventory, and I just opened boxes for a few years. It was great. But at the Apple store, they had a lot of culture that was a little bit too much for me. But one of the things that I learned while working there that I took into my life and I took it to heart was their notion to assume positive intent. Anytime a customer is yelling at you, anytime a customer wants to exchange, return a product, they're not happy with what they have, anytime something happens, we were taught to assume positive intent. So if someone is saying something to us, assume that they're coming from a positive place, because in reality, you have no idea why this person is acting this way, why this person wants this thing. You have no idea until you actually ask, right? So if you assume negative intent, oh, they're coming from a negative place. Oh, they're just trying to get their money. Oh, they're just trying to take advantage of the system. Could be, or they could just be a really nice, confused person who doesn't understand what's happening. So it is kind of a way of brainwashing yourself to think that the world is great. But what does that really change, right? The action stays the same. The action from the other person is never going to change, but your interpretation of it gets nicer. So your worldview gets nicer. It's interesting. I like doing that. Misty, hello all. Chantel, I sleep more on the new moon, but yes, it affects everyone a little different. Proven fact. The moon with the magnetic pole. Nicole's been also dealing with challenges with other people. Maybe everyone is extra stressed. I mean, there's always something we can point to in astrology, right? We are in the middle of a handful of retrogrades. So Mars is going to station retrograde later today. But I mean, we have Mercury retrograde, which started on November 25th. Actually, that messes with communication quite a bit. So there could just be communication barriers. Mercury is the planet of the mind, speech, communication. So retrograde kind of throws that off. Jupiter has been retrograde since October. Jupiter stationed retrograde in October. So that is a slowdown. So Jupiter right now is in Gemini, and Jupiter has to do with our like world beliefs, the truth of things, the bigger perspective. But Jupiter is retrograde in Gemini. Jupiter does not like being in Gemini so much because he's farthest away from his home sign, which is Sagittarius, across from Gemini. Detriment, I think that's called detriment. I don't practice that kind of astrology. But anytime a planet is in the sign that is opposite of their home sign where they rule, they don't like it. So Jupiter right now is retrograde through Gemini. So we're trying to figure out like what we actually believe, what actual thoughts and truths and facts are true. So that can be pretty mind messy. And Jupiter retrograde started beginning of October, and it'll go through the beginning of February. So actually this Mercury retrograde in Sag, it's pretty much the same because Mercury and Gemini are connected, Sag and Jupiter are connected. So it's kind of like a double, like, what do I really think is true? And this is why I've been rewatching so many documentaries. I'll talk about that in 2 seconds. I did get stuff set up. We have Uranus retrograde right now. Neptune is about to station direct tomorrow, and we have Chiron retrograde. So there is a lot of energy that's like pulling us back, pulling us inwards. And if people try to fight that, if you try to fight against what the universe is giving you, you're going to be ornery. You're going to be upset. You're going to get... the documentaries, the Thrive documentaries. I have scheduled the YouTube live, which I just need to post as public to my page. And then I did get a little donation link set up for the Q&A after party. So let me tell you guys about that right now. So on Monday, December 16th, so a week from Monday at 5:30 p.m. Central Time, I'm going to stream on YouTube Live, and I'm going to stream the Thrive documentary. I am streaming it off of YouTube. I did not make this documentary. I'm not claiming to make this documentary. But this was made in like 2011, 2012. It's older. But there's a second one that we'll do in January. But this Thrive documentary, I want to watch it with you guys because it might have some information in it that you haven't been privy to, right? So the documentary itself is about the free energy that we have available to us. This guy describes how easy life is supposed to be, and then he gives his theory on why it's not available to us, why we're not allowed to use it, why it's been so suppressed. So I love this kind of work. I love this kind of digging. I love this kind of critical thinking. So I want to watch it with you guys on YouTube Live so we can have the chat. You guys can just search my name on YouTube. Just copy and paste Jacqui Mancuso into YouTube. I have a personal account and a professional account, and you can tell by the subscribers which one is which. I want to watch it with you guys so that we can chat about it while we're watching, so we can have that YouTube Live chat going, and that's it. And anyone can join that. And then if you feel so inclined afterwards, if you want to hop in a Q&A Zoom with me, I'll have a donation link, sliding scale, $11 to $33, whatever you guys can give. But I will sit with you guys for about an hour after the movie, and we can have like a discussion about some of the things that came up. So I will have those links in my link tree probably this afternoon if you want to join that. So Thrive will be Monday, December 16th at 5:30 p.m. Central Time. Thrive 2 is going to be on Friday, January 3rd. So if you guys are on a winter break, I figured that would be like the last Friday of your winter break, so we can have some fun with that. Karen, that's true as well. So Nicole was asking, like, is everyone really stressed? And Karen says, yeah, people are in fear. A lot of people are in fear right now, and hurt people hurt people. Nicole says, just trying to be at peace with myself since we can't control others. That's all you can do. And it's more powerful than you can imagine. It's more powerful than you think. When I went on my rant about not being so frustrated with what's happening, there was a lot of guilt. There's a lot of guilt that there's so many people around me who are like, oh my God, the world's going to end. And I'm sitting over here just chilling. I felt guilty for not matching the frantic energy. But then the more I thought about it and the more I started talking about it, when you're frantic, you need someone to ground you. You need someone who's like, dude, it's fine. Like, go ahead, have your moment, express the feelings that you're feeling right now, but everything's going to be fine. So the more that you are able to find your inner peace, you're going to be that stability, that structure for the people that are losing their shit. So absolutely, find peace within yourself. You're not only helping yourself, you are helping create a grounding energy for everything around you. Tahara also used to work at the Apple Store. It was a good job. It was a good job. I only left because that's when I started teaching. And I finally got to use the degree that I paid so much money for, that I used for 3 years. Trina loves that. Assume positive intent. Yeah, if you can't know why someone's doing something, assume. Heidi, yes, that Pluto-Mars opposition is also on the horizon. So Pluto and Mars have an ongoing opposition that started, I think their first exact opposition was early November. So the energy for that was building for a few weeks before that. So let's go mid-October, and this is going to go through like the middle of May next year. So Pluto is the planet of destruction. Mars is the planet of war and aggression and action. And these planets are opposite of each other. And because of retrogrades and stuff, they are going to make 3 exact oppositions. So that creates a lot of headbutting. The planet of war is head to head with the planet of destruction. Pluto is breaking up a lot of things. Pluto is exposing a lot of truths, especially as he's walking into Aquarius. This can be the first time that a lot of us are seeing some of these behind the veil things in our communities, in our big organizations. Pluto's here to say, this has been here for a long time. Have you ever looked at the underside of this? Have you looked at the underbelly of this organization? That's what Pluto is supposed to be doing. And then Mars is across from him, just raring to go, just fucking angry, especially in Leo. Leo's the sign of self-expression. So Mars is angry. He wants to tell people about it. Mars is being triggered. He wants to express it in some way. So that's also an ongoing transit that could be impacting the world. Nicole's been being more honest, and people are not cool with that. Are you following your heart? Are you doing what you know is right? That is what I believe we are here to do. If people don't like it, they're not your people. If people don't like it, they're not your people. I'm here to, that's not how I wanted to start that sentence. I'm learning more and more, especially since leaving my marriage, that I don't think, and this could be just me, right? So here's my perspective. It doesn't have to work for everybody in the world, but I'm kind of learning that I don't think relationships are supposed to be forever. I'm legit sinking into this, and not like, yeah, sure, friendships, they're not supposed to be forever, but I don't think one person is supposed to be with one person forever. I don't think family relationships have to be forever. I really feel like people are sent to you to like play and mingle and get to a place. And then when it starts to feel sour, that's your sign. Your emotions are your guides. They're here to tell you this isn't working anymore. Maybe you've grown in different directions and that's okay. I forgot what triggered me to say that. Yeah, you're being more honest with people and people aren't cool with that. So, are you going to continue to make yourself small to keep this relationship, to keep this friendship? Oh, but we've been friends forever. Okay, thank you for being with me when I was this version. I have now grown and I would like to continue to grow. So, I'm going to go find people who align with this version of me, and that's okay. I feel the same with like groups, like you can go to an organization for X amount of years, and then when it doesn't feel good for you, peace. Thank you. You don't have to leave with anger. April, the sun will still set and rise, no matter who's governing. It's draining to give up your power to what you cannot control. Christine, when you're in fear or frantic, that energy is increasing in the universe. Misty, I'm the same way with all the anxiety around the election. It's over, and the best thing for me is to be aware of what I need to do to protect myself. Lisa, will you be putting the Q&A section on YouTube afterwards? I won't make the live as you're in the UK, and we'll be asleep, but I'd be interested to watch it myself and then hear your thoughts. I haven't decided what I'm going to do with that yet. I am going to record the Q&A after the Thrive documentary, but I'm not sure what I want to do with it. I kind of have to play it by ear. I got to see how it goes. But I hear you. And I know that yes, I usually host things early in the morning here and that. It's like a movie party. So I want to do it at nighttime. So I'm not sure yet what I'm going to do. Teresa, I bit my tongue a lot, as many around me aren't open-minded to my worldview. Lucky to have close ones, loved ones that have a clue. T, were you the one that recommended Zeitgeist? Because we watched the first one and then accidentally the third one, thinking that it was the second one. It's cool. I'm with you. I get it. It felt a little like they focused a lot on things that have happened a long, long time ago. And I could see at the time why that would be like the big. It was a good one. Thanks for the recommendation. I'm glad I watched it. I liked it. The beginning of how the first one started was interesting. Hello, Matthew. Nice to see you. Becca says, agree with you. Serenity to accept what we cannot change is challenging for sure. So instead of accepting it, turn it into positive intent, right? I cannot change that this person's yelling in my face right now. I'm talking old retail, Jackie, right? I cannot change that this person is yelling at me because they can't get into their iCloud account. So do I accept it, or do I say, they're probably having a really shitty day and they just happen to be taking it out on me. I'm going to put up my block here. That's really funny. Karen, I was married for 3 years and we were together for 7. Sounds good, Matthew. We'll see you in a second. Mari says, thanks. I think that was meant for me. I'm in that friendship situation. There is guilt, right? You can have guilt. I'm supposed to be with this person because they're relying on me, but are you holding yourself back to live for someone else? Are you holding yourself back to live for someone else? And are you holding yourself back because you're worried that you won't find support to become the person that you want to be? Because you're always going to find your people. The more authentic you are, the more you walk to the beat of your own drum, you're going to find your people. Set up clear boundaries for yourself, Lars. I like that name. It reminds me of Rocket Power. Did anyone used to watch Rocket Power? Lars. Yeah, set up clear boundaries. It's to know when it's time for you to exit. Every relationship has a shelf life. April says, love that perspective. Sometimes people can grow and evolve together, and sometimes they cannot. And that doesn't mean that it was a crapshoot. That doesn't mean that the whole relationship should be thrown out. I see you, Becca. Maybe we can have one card reading today. We'll get to a card. Yeah, that sounds good. Okay, interesting. Matthew's also awake at 2:35 in the morning where he is. Matthew, before you hopped in, everyone was saying someone woke up at 2 a.m., someone was up at 3 a.m. their time, 3:33. Interesting. I don't know Celsius either. He says it's 24 degrees Celsius. Can anyone convert that to Fahrenheit? Misty came to that conclusion earlier in her life. There's a poem called A Reason, a Season, or a Lifetime. And I've realized I have lots of reasons and seasons. But if you die with the number of lifetimes that you can count on one hand, you've lived a great life as far as I'm concerned. I like that. Karen A has a lot of reasons and seasons too. Just thinking the same. Misty is hanging out 3 a.m. Oh, 75. That sounds really nice. I wish it was 75. I think it is 17 here right now, maybe 20 degrees here right now. Oh, cool. Lars is here for the first time. So interesting and full of wisdom. Well, I'm set up to be here 3 times a week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Monday and Friday, same time. It was 9 a.m. Central. And then Wednesdays, I come here a little bit earlier. Misty, that was the time you woke up. Interesting. Yeah, I don't know why everyone's waking up so early today. Maybe it's like right before Mars station's retrograde. He's like, you know what? Before we slow down, before we have no energy for a few months, here, just get up. Go, do something today. Okay, so yeah, I'll pull a card. And let me just think about what we've been talking about. A lot of us woke up early today. A lot of us were talking about people around us being edgy, being You know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to pick one. I have like an idea of what's up here, but I don't know for sure. But I want something that's right here. What are you? Cool. That's Rebecca Campbell. That's really funny. I was looking at this deck yesterday and I was like, man, I haven't used that Healing Waters in a long time. It's really funny. Bethany said, I set a much needed boundary with a friend 30 years. Although it was heartbreaking that the friendship fell away, only because it was my expectation that it would last forever. There's a lot of freedom that came with that and permission to fully express my authenticity with her without staying small to fit into her expectation. How do you feel? And it doesn't mean that, you walk away from something and it's easy peasy. I'm never going to think about that again. But when it's time to go, it's time to go. Why is there an expectation that it's going to last forever? That takes away so much freedom. It takes away so much freedom that you're expecting it's going to last forever. Just reflecting, because there was a lot of expectation, right? You get married, you're supposed to be married forever. And when I would voice things like, I'm not happy with this, the rebuttal would be, well, are you going to leave? We've built this life together. We've been together for so long. Well, that's not what I want anymore. Are you going to change with me? Or are you just going to hang on to what we've already built and say, well, you're supposed to like this. We did this. You're supposed to like this. Well, I did at the time, and now I want to do something different. What's wrong with that? Oh, Cecilia just bought this deck. Matthew, definitely been feeling a boost of confidence lately. Got it back. That's great. Bethany, maybe not an expectation, but childhood jokes about growing old together. causing problems. Interesting. Christine loves this deck. Becca, how long to tolerate when they won't change with you? I mean, that's obviously subjective, you know? I can't tell you, well, you tolerate it for 2 years, and if they don't change, then that's the thing. Because that would not, you know, it's subjective. How long do you tolerate it? How long do you accept that that is what you have created for yourself? How long are you willing to sit with, this is what I created for myself? Some people need to sit with it longer to get to the breaking point to say, well, it's finally time. You know, I don't want this anymore. Misty was married twice, 12 years the first time and 9 years the second. Yes, I outgrew them and they are still living the same life. That's what they want. You know, it's not to say that their life is bad. That's just the choice that they made for themselves. And you have a choice that you made for yourself. And that's fine. That's fine. Going through the whole process of meeting my husband head over heels. I had to be with this guy, right? Had to get married. And at the time I really did. And then we got married. And then I started noticing like, wow, I kind of respect myself more than this. I want to get out of here. And then I got out of there. It has completely changed the way that I enter relationships. It has completely changed what I think I need from a partner. So I obviously had to learn something to go through that whole process. There's much more of a detachment, but a healthy detachment. And I kind of said that when I met my husband. I was very, because before that, like I was raised in codependency, and all of my relationships so far have been codependent. And so I would enter into relationship being like, wow, I need this person in my life. I don't know what I would do without this person. And it was very sad, very insecure, right? But then when I met my husband, I remembered telling him very early on, I was like, this is great. I don't need you. I want you. And then over time, it developed into a need. It developed into this like, I'm still looking for the line between codependent and interdependent. I'm still looking at that. I'm trying to find that line, because where does it become detrimental and where does it become supportive? Because we're not here to be solo. We're not here to be boss bitch 100% of the time. We do need support, but then where does it turn codependent? That's still kind of what I'm looking for. But it has greatly impacted what I look for when I want to relate with other people in whatever way. You know, do I need this from you? No, I'm good on my own, but whatever you're adding here is making me feel good. So I'm going to keep doing it. Before I get to the card, before I read these comments, I do want to throw it out here. If you guys have been enjoying what we're talking about today, if you are in appreciation of my time, I am in appreciation of energy exchanges from you all. So if you would like to offer an energy exchange in the form of a donation, they're always appreciated. Today, since we are going to pull a card from the Healing Waters Oracle, I will throw you a book dive from the Healing Waters. So we're just going to pull one card from here, but if you want something a little bit more personal, I will dive into the book and comment on your donation with a couple sentences from here. Levi says, I chose to just have friends in circles, not a one-on-one. The departure over and over really hurts. Sounds good. Yeah, if that works for you, that sounds great. I'm glad that you came to that realization for yourself. Bethany was a long time coming. We stopped growing in the same direction. Becca, trust in self seems very important for expansion. 100%. 100%. Lisa Nanda, I've just decided to stay single and have pets and good friends. Love it. Christine says, I believe we all have our own paths, and respecting that can keep relationships going and healthy. Speak your truth and work things out. There can be bliss and happiness in staying with a relationship. You can grow into something greater. But yes, you will know if it's time to walk away. No expectations, just love for the relationship. I've been married 37 years, and it won't always be easy, but worth our efforts. That's the beauty I see in my relationship. And thank you for sharing your perspective. I'm clearly coming from the perspective of someone who has recently left a marriage. Like I'm coming through that lens of, wow, I'm learning that I don't have to stay with people. But thank you for sharing the other side, because it's not all about my perspective. I'm just sharing that right now. Bethany Husband, I love that. I took that from my line dance instructor. Yeah, Stephanie, my ex-husband. I just think it's a more fun way to say it. Misty, I will live with someone for the rest of my life if that's the way it goes. I don't need a paper and expensive party with people who don't really care about me. They're just there for free food and drinks. I can commit without all that, and it's more meaningful. Mm-hmm. A hand fasting ritual. What's that, Misty? Lori, I'm reviewing those lines too. Interdependent versus dependent. Yeah, it might be subjective again, Christine is also a firm believer that relationships have an expiration. Sometimes it lasts into another life. I like that. Heather and Nicole, I appreciate your support. Thank you guys. Karen also uses husband. I'm guessing you have incense burning behind you. Yeah, looks like the top of your hair is smoking. Yeah, that's incense. Yeah. Okay, let's dive into this deck. So it's Friday, and we're going to be back here on Monday. So maybe let's ask for, okay, what I want you guys to do first, however long you've been here, if you've been here from the beginning or if you jumped in halfway, just reflect quickly on what so far your biggest takeaway from today has been. And I'm going to do the same. What's been your biggest takeaway from today so far? Hold it. How will this takeaway lead you through this weekend? I like that. How will this takeaway, your personal biggest takeaway, how is this going to lead you through this weekend? And then after I pull the card, we can have a chat about what that means for all of us. So feel free to send your energy into this deck. It's the Healing Waters deck. Wow, there we go. Instant. I was going to start blabbing again, but I don't need to. Here we go. So whatever your biggest aha, biggest takeaway, how is this going to help you this upcoming weekend? The card that came out for us is the Sacred Well. Replenishment, self-care, giving from a place of plenty. The Sacred Well is a resting place, a recovery place, and a healing place. It's somewhere for weary travelers to be replenished, a place where we can receive and resource in order to go back out into the world and give. As the adage says, we can only give to others what we have given to ourselves or have ourselves been given. How full is your inner well? Are you giving from a place of overspilling plenty? Or are you overextending and giving from parched land? Self-care has come to be regarded as a somewhat frivolous, luxurious practice. However, self-care is much more fundamental than that. It's about resourcing ourselves in a rhythmic way. This doesn't necessarily need to involve splurging on an expensive spa break or vacation. It could simply be taking time out in nature with the sun on your back. It could be spending an extra 5 minutes each morning to slowly drink your cup of tea, or running a bath with essential oils when the children are asleep. If we're relying on our reserves to sustain us, Eventually, our inner well will run dry. And when we reach this place, it takes an awful lot to return to a state of balance. Do you feel guilty for putting yourself first? Do you question whether you should give yourself what you truly, really yearn for? How can you reprioritize your energetic well-being? The sacred well is calling us to come home to it and to frequent it in a rhythmic way. How are you being called to fill up your inner well? So I wonder if whatever your biggest takeaway so far has to be what will fill you up, what will replenish your sacred well. So I'm glad that I took the time to reflect myself and ask, like, what has my biggest takeaway been so far? And my biggest takeaway was, wow, Jacqui, you can show up and have absolutely nothing prepared and have a really nice conversation for an hour. So clearly, this is what my body wants me to do right now. Stop prepping, stop over analysis paralysis, right? Stop trying to get everything in order. You are enough. You can just show up and talk, and that is enough. That's what I got. I saw that Trina said that her biggest takeaway was assuming positive intent. And then she said, giving from a place of plenty. I am full and true. I can give that to others as well by assuming positive intent. Trina, you were the only one who shared at first. So I was thinking about your comment when I was reading, and I was curious if you are assuming positive intent towards yourself. Is there a way that you feel maybe like a past thing that you did might be regretful? Like, you know what I'm saying? You might feel guilty about something that you've done in the past. Are you able to assume positive intent about the past version of yourself? That's what came up. And thank you so kindly, Trina, for your donation. I have a meditation on my Insight Timer profile. It's called Releasing Guilt and Regret. And it's that exact thing. It's really about going back to a time that a mistake that you made and rectifying it, making it okay. Matthew says, I think I should cook up a storm in the kitchen, either tomorrow, today, or Sunday. We were just talking about that on Wednesday. This is Mars retrograde energy. Mars retrograde through Leo. Leo is play, creation, self-expression. And Mars retrograde is asking you to slow down and not necessarily do things for other people. So if creating something in the kitchen makes you feel good, do it right now. Do it. Misty says hand fasting. You were talking about hand fasting to marriage, right? A tradition. So it's the old pagan tradition of how people got married. There were no preachers. It was usually done by an elder or shaman. You have ribbons wrapped around your hands, holding each other's hands as you're from the community, the closest people in your life, as they speak their wishes for you. You speak your intentions to each other once your hands are tied together. I like that. And I've thought the same. If there is someone that I want to commit to, I don't need the government involved in my business anymore. I might do a ritual if it feels aligned for me, but yeah. Matthew should probably bake a cake as well. Why not? Constance, so on point. Hello, Christina. Wow, this was so fresh. It will be my takeaway. Awesome. Levi says, go with the flow. Stop resisting is my takeaway. And that will fill your sacred well. 100%. Stop resisting. Allison, affirmation to prioritize my rest over live business training. I release guilt and regret. I love that. Levi can work on your throat chakra in order to stop making myself small. What does that mean for you? How are you going to work on your throat chakra? Something I just recommended to someone, if you feel like you can't speak up, I was trying to think of like a specific example, but it doesn't need one. If there's something that you want to say that you feel like you have nowhere to say it, start a burner account. Start like a Reddit. Like Reddit is a really good chat forum. Make a burner Instagram, create a new whatever account and go anonymous. Create an alias just so that you can get what you need. If you have something to say, it needs to be said. And if you don't feel like you're going to be accepted yet, if you need to tiptoe around that energy, like do it. I would rather you get it out than hold it in forever because you're not by your people and you don't know who your people are. Does that make sense? Stephanie, wow, I need to make time for myself to rest and realign. Funny, as I thought spa getaway, there was something similar in the reading. I realized I just watched the sunrise sipping my coffee. Just watching the sunrise sipping my coffee feels way better. I have mixed emotions on the whole luxury thing. I have been consciously working on my money mindset for years, and I follow two specific teachers for this. One of them is Taylor Eaton. She made this Wealthy Woman Oracle deck. We used it one time on here, but Taylor Eaton is a money mindset person. And then my radical teacher, Mami Yonami. I like her a lot. And they have pretty opposing views about money. Not opposing views, but Taylor's way of viewing money is very aligned with how the rest of the spiritual community talks about money. And it resonates, you know, it's an energy. You have to align your frequency to it, and then it comes in. Mami Yonami is much more in your face. She's much more, I don't care what you think. This is what I think, and this is what's worked for me, so I'm going to teach it. And Mami Yonami is much more frivolous, right? I feel like the general concept of the spiritual community is to say, I'm so grateful for everything I have. Even though I don't have what I want, I don't care because I have what I need. And then Mami Yonami speaks about that as saying, like, you're just in denial, right? If you're living in your car and you're talking about how grateful and abundant you are because you're living in your car, you're lying to yourself. It's okay to want more. It's okay to want those spa days. It's okay to treat yourself. It's okay to admit that you want those luxurious things, because if you deny that you want those things, they're never going to show up, and you're going to keep pretending like you're okay with having a little. And that's it. It's this whole desire thing. It's a desire thing. Are we suppressing our desires to pretend that we're okay with bare bones? Why don't we get to have more than we want? Why don't we get to have more than enough, more than we need, right? I just wanted to say that about that spa getaway, because treat yourself. If it's what you want, go do it. Who's holding you back, you know? Matthew has citrine and rose quartz in your kitchen. I think it's been helping. I forgot why I read that citrine is supposed to live in your kitchen. I had some at my old place. Bethany, this has reminded me how leaving my marriage was an enormous gift to myself. I gave it my all, but I finally loved myself enough to know my worth. I have self-respect and not settle. As we go into the weekend, I'm reminded I can trust myself and my intuition. Perfect timing with having to make some big decisions. That's amazing, Bethany. That's amazing. I'm glad that that's what you took away from this. Hello, Carrie. Misty's working on your vision board this weekend. Yes. I love that. I'm starting to think about what my 2025 word is, and I think it might be play. I think I might be taking the energy of play into 2025. That seems, just intuitive, but we'll see if it changes. Shauna, yes, I'll put those names in the chat. So Taylor Eaton was the first one. And Mommy Onami is the second. Mommy Onami is the radical one. I like her a lot. Nicole did dragon breath work. Oh, the chat is skipping around a whole lot. Dragon breath work for one day and suddenly feel like I can at least speak up for myself now. That's great. That's great. Misty, that's an amazing idea for me to ease into my path of teaching on IT. You go, girl. Christina, I release guilt for taking care of myself, my soul, my energy. Love that. Levi loves the anonymous writing idea. It needs to come out. It does need to come out. So you can do it in a journal. You can do it to yourself in a mirror. You can do it to your animals. You can do it on a anonymous post. Oh, celestite, not citrine. Interesting. Carrie's in a weird stage right now. She seems to have lost my interest or oomph to do what I love to do. Maybe what you love to do is shifting then. Maybe there's something new that you love to do. I'm going to start wrapping up here just to let you guys know. Trina, yes, you did spell that right, Mommy Onami. April, we're created to want more. Look at the abundance of our planet and universe. I like that. Heather, especially being a Taurus sun, I like treating myself. Jack, I should have started spa days as soon as I got really serious about yoga. Interesting. Why do you say that? You feel like it would have helped you as you got into yoga? Stephanie, I just want a massage, not a whole weekend. Want whatever you want, you know? It won't come if you don't name it. It won't come if you don't name it. So here, you guys want to be some of my OGs? I want to just live my life. I'm finally okay to admit this. I want to be a social media influencer. I want to just live and have people look at what I do, and I want people to be inspired by just watching me live my life. And I want brands to pay me to talk about their products. That's what I want. Can I tell you guys, like, admitting that to what we have 200 people on Insight Timer right now, admitting that out loud to a couple hundred people, I feel guilty. Well, what makes you so high and mighty, Jacqui? What makes you not have to go to work like the rest of us, Jacqui? Like, that's the voice inside my head when I say that. But like, I'm coming around to that's what I want. I don't want to have to work, and that's okay. I just want to live. I want to experience life, and I want to show it. So watch it. Jack says sports medicine massage is somewhere between a luxury and a necessity, but I think long-term it may be closer to necessity. Christine just came across from a quote from Eckhart Tolle. Sometimes letting things go is an act of far greater power than defending or hanging on. Yeah, it shows you love yourself. You're welcome, Becca. Thanked for my own perspectives on the card. Misty, 2025 phrase, take up space, sis. That is Queen of Wands energy. Queen of Wands. Karen says this was a very interesting and helpful Flow State Friday. And that's all we did. We just flowed today. This has been like cool for me. This has been showing me that I could just show up and be accepted and helpful. I love it, Levi. Levi, I want to try self-employment attempt number 3. What else do you guys want? I want to be a social media influencer. I want a team of people to run my social media for me. I want to just live, and I want things to happen in the background, and then I want to just live the life that I desire to live. That's what I want. What do you guys want? What do you guys want? Winner, Stephanie. Not sure what it means yet or if it will stick, but I'm brewing a word. Matthew's definitely not where I want to be and have been struggling a fair bit since some things have not worked out, but I feel pretty chilled out and I'm pretty handy. Everything seems to simplify for me. I'm just working at it towards what I want most days. That's it. Small steps, baby steps. follow your highest excitement every single day, because your highest excitement can change. So thank you, Christine. I appreciate your donation. And Becca asked where else. So in my Insight Timer bio, my link tree is there. There are links for my Venmo and PayPal. I also have a Patreon. I just started this new Patreon deal where if you want to support me for $5 a month, that's great. You have that option. And then if you want to support me for $10 a month, I'm posting all of my YouTube videos there so that you can watch them ad-free. So I wanted to tell you guys that. And also, last night I had a wave of inspiration. And I sent out an email, so I guess I can talk about it a little bit. I will put more things on my link tree. I'm going to get all that set up later today, most likely. Yeah, I'm going to hop off because I don't have anything for another 2 hours. So I can work on my link tree now to get you guys those Thrive links so we can do that watch party. And then yesterday, my wave of inspiration, I've been playing with AI music. Okay, so I have this friend who has been creating AI beats and then rapping over them. And he's made like 15 albums doing it, like that's just his thing. But he came over last week and we made a rap song together. And it was just fun. And then he showed me the website that he uses. So then I started playing with it and I'm like, oh, look at me. I'm being creative. I'm still playing with this, like, what does it mean to be human versus AI versus like I'm inputting all the information. And so I'm the one creating it. You know what I'm saying? So then I started playing with options. And then I started, like, I've been doing those daily astrology posts on Facebook and Instagram and YouTube. And then I was like, well, what if I make a song about astrology? So I started I made it. It will post for the solstice. I made a song for the winter solstice. And I think it's bomb. Like, I think it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. So then it was a shower thought. And I was like, why don't I make songs for birth chart readings? Like, why don't I just take my astrology knowledge and turn it into a little birth chart song? Because that's fun and it's different and it's quirky and it's so Jacqui. So I made a couple examples. I made one, I did my own big 3, sun, moon, rising, and I made like a sample song of what that would look like. And then I took my dad's chart and I did like a chart highlights. Like I looked at his whole chart and I was like, oh, well, these are the things that stand out. And I made that a song as well. So I'm offering them to you guys for purchase. So I just put 2 new videos on my YouTube last night. They are my big 3 song and my dad's song. And then there's all the information in the insight or in the YouTube description. I also put a link to the email that I sent out last night. If you're not on my email list, the website, guys, is Suno. If you want to start playing with that, it's fun. It's fun. Light. What time is the documentary live stream? So that's going to be Monday the 16th, and that's going to be at 5:30 p.m. Central Time. I created the live stream. I just had it private because I wanted to like tell you guys about it before I put it public, but I'm probably going to put it public like right after we hop off. So, yeah, those little birth chart readings, I think it's a fun idea. It might be a fun thing to gift to someone also, right? So yeah, listen to the examples, see if they're fun for you, because I haven't been doing birth chart readings for almost a year. So here's a way where I'm like, you know what? This feels good to me. This feels creative. I'm going to throw this out there. If it gets picked up, great. If not, great. It's just what I felt like doing last night. So alrighty. Thank you guys all so much. I appreciate your energy here. We made this whole thing happen together. So I love this. I'm going to keep doing these Flow State Fridays. We'll see what happens afterwards. Becca, what is a birth chart reading? That means I look at what the sky looked like the day that you were born. And that tells me where the planets were when you were born. So how the planets interact with each other, because each planet has its own energy, and the unique blueprint that was in the sky when you were born is imprinted onto little Miss Becca as you come into this life. So your whole life is kind of set up by the blueprint of what the sky looked like when you were born. So I just give you a little bit of information about you specifically as a person. Time of birth isn't needed. It helps, but I can get around without it. So love that we could purchase and gift it. Yeah, I thought that would be fun, you know, especially people who are like, no, astrology is all BS. Well, here's this girl who knows nothing about you looking at your birth chart telling you exactly who you are. Is astrology BS? Teresa's been wanting your chart read. Interesting. Carrie, astrology is everything. That Zeitgeist movie. Was it that one? I've been watching way too many documentaries lately. 1 hour, 11 minutes, 11 seconds. I think Zeitgeist was talking about how everything comes down to astrology, but I don't know. Yeah, it was, because it was talking about the sun. The sun. That's too much. Okay, guys. Bethany, go to my YouTube channel. Look at the sample songs that I just posted last night. They'll be right there on my channel. All right, guys. Sending love to all. Next week, I'll be here on Monday for cards, Wednesday for astrology and cards, and Friday for flow state Friday. I got distracted by Matthew. Is that what's next year? I'm not big on Chinese zodiac. Are we going from Year of the Dragon to Year of the Snake? Shut up. Year of the Dragon to Year of the Snake? I bought this summer. The snake. Snake. Snicky snake. This is my ecstatic dance fetish. That's what these are called. They're called fetishes. And it doesn't have to be sexual. That's what little animal totems are called. So interesting that we're going from dragon to snake, because I bought the dragon the year before and I bought the snake. Wow. Okay. Anyway, guys, sending love to all. Namaste. I will see you on Monday. Take care. Take care. Take care.